You know, just recently I was out at a local garden center and nursery here in Stillwater and was talking to a friend of mine that owns that garden center, and it was, it was in mid to late March, I guess, and it was a really bright, warm, sunny day, and he told me that he had all kinds of people in there that day wanting tomato plants. Well, obviously that's way too early to plant tomatoes because of the dangers of frost and also the soil temperatures. But we do really get kind of antsy, so to speak, when the weather gets warm and we start seeing spring really come to life. But one of the things we can do now is to go ahead and prepare our tomato planting site, which will really help us out when we plant the tomatoes later on, when the temperatures of the soil and when the danger of frost is all past. And so what I like to do is at least 2 or maybe even better, 3 weeks before planting, I like to go in and prepare my planting site. And the way I do that is dig a hole where I'm going to plant my tomato at least 8 inches deep, maybe even 8 to 12 inches deep, and about a foot wide. Then I want to come back in and I want to refill that hole with 2 parts of compost, and this is compost that's not been screened. It's just rough compost, but it's really good compost. You don't have to use compost, but some type of good organic matter, maybe manure or some sort of organic matter would suffice. But I do 2 parts of that to 1 part of soil. Then, in order to give the tomatoes a little bit of a start, I like to put in about 1/3 cup of lime. Now, the reason I like to put the lime is because I want some added calcium in there to help prevent blossom end rot. And this particular lime is called rapid lime. It has soluble calcium in it. So I know it's going to go ahead and get into the soil solution when I start the process of mixing it in and getting it into the soil. So I put about 1/3 cup of lime, 2 tablespoons of a good complete fertilizer such as 10-20-10 or 12-12-12, and then just mix that in really good. And then we'll have about 2 or 3 weeks here for all that compost to start continuing to further decompose, for the soil to begin to take up some of the lime and the fertilizer that we've put in there. And then I will have my hole all ready to plant my tomato when time comes, and I won't have to do any type of preparation. In order to remember where this is, because I know it's going to rain and things are going to sort of settle down, I just stick a flag in there or a stick of some kind and mark exactly where my hole is. Then when it comes time to plant, I know where my planting site is. I can put my tomato in there, get it off to a good start. Then after I plant my tomato, what I like to do is get just a garbage bag, such as this, black garbage bag. I'll put it over that tomato hole. I do this about 10 days before I plant. Stick it down good with either rocks or boards or these landscape fabric pins. And the reason I'm doing that is because that's going to help warm that soil up. The sun will get onto the soil, will warm it up good, and then I can just simply jerk that off or even plant my tomato right through a hole that I put in this plastic. And then I've got my tomatoes off to a good start. So when you get really sort of in a hurry to plant your tomatoes, this time of the year, instead of planting them, go out and fix your tomato planting site. Then you'll feel like you've done something to help those tomatoes out.